open it up that way.
Got it. So hello, Jody. Hello, Reggie. Hello, John. I apologize for being late.
We are awesome.
I feel like I just walked in during the cocktail hour at a wedding.
You pretty much did. And we just told a really funny joke and you didn't catch it, so you're just kind of uncomfortably laughing right now.
I understand. So, anyhow, education at a show. Yeah, you know what? I know, especially at this place in my career where I'm presenting now, and I've been like next week I'll be at Midwest DJs Live and we'll be exhibiting, where I have to say there are times where I sincerely miss just being an attendee and having no responsibilities, and I'm not thinking about the show from a possible distracting news writer point of view, or when I was a part of the think tank groups, it was trying to find time within the group, at the convention, within the various groups that I love hanging with and such. But it's, it's tough. It's a good problem to have, though, if you think about it, because, again, going to shows now since 1992, what is that, 25 years, 26 years, something like that. I'm blessed to have so many people and so many things in my life and in my career that allow me the opportunity to do more than just sit in the back of the room and keep my mouth shut. So that's that. So I'm assuming since Brian didn't jump on, his internet was too unstable.
I was having such problems here. I was wondering if it was the messages were even going out to you guys.
Gotcha. We were
just terrible.
I'm still at the office. Actually, I was writing blogs and editing videos for Marquee and such, and just was crazy. And then all of a sudden, I got a pop up, and I'm like, "What in the world?" And that was Jody.
My show is.
Here we go. Hey,
that's one thing. Also, like, even you guys who are old, you're past millennial age. Nobody picked up the phone and called. Nobody actually said, "Case."
I was wondering.
Are you alive?
I was looking at that, and it's like,
oh gosh, your number, I'd call you.
I appreciate that, Reggie. It's because you're old as well.
Hey, who you calling old, dude?
You. Should we go through the wrestlers from the 1940s?
Yes, let's do that. This would be the fun show then.
Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan.
Oh, those aren't that old enough. Yeah, there we go. Now you're getting in the Crusher and the.
So getting back to education,
and Marquee.
Well, let's back up even further. So Brian right now is at the Engaged Business Summit, which is in Europe, and I think for some reason I want to say he's in Italy.
Sardinia.
Sardinia. There you go. See, you're Jody stalking Brian.
I stalk Brian all the time.
And so the interesting thing about it is that comparing industries, I think that show is almost $3,000 to attend.
It is.
It is first class all the way. I watched the recap video from the one that they actually did in Orlando at the 5 Seasons, and it was just amazing. I mean, absolutely, positively amazing. Every part of it was just mind-numbing, and it saddens me a little bit that the DJ industry isn't following suit to what so many of these other conferences are. And I don't know if you guys saw, but somebody put a burr up Mike Fernino's butt this week on DJ Idea Share, and he talked about how disappointed he was in the industry. That an example is they've got 12,000 members on DJ Idea Share, and yet for some reason there are still not a lot of people attending conferences, whether it be mine, whether it be Mobile Beat, whether
any of them,
regional. Hey, yeah. And John, you've got to feel the same way. You've been producing Disc Jockey News for how long now?
2004 is when you started with the paper.
Okay, so 14 years, and there's 100,000 DJs in there. So let's say, and in your case, it's so ridiculous that what is the cost for a 12-month subscription?
It's up to $30 for the print. So
$30 divided by 12 months, less than $3.
Yeah, precisely.
A cup of Starbucks is more expensive than your paper per month, and it's insane. And you have some absolutely amazing people writing for you that are industry specific. and now you've expanded the paper to include a photo booth segment. And, and some of your writers write specifically about DJ, but others, like this past article I wrote that's coming out this month, is about, maximizing your Facebook the right way as opposed to any poor habits, which works for literally any business whatsoever. You could be in the roofing business and everything that I wrote about would be the same.
Oh, for sure. It was good basics internet or social media advice there with Facebook.
Yeah. Even if I was on page 5, I got to get to page 1. I mean, for God's sake, what do I have to do? Do I have to push Mike Walter over at Midwest DJs?
No, we bumped him to page 2, and I think he had some really, woke up in a cold sweat a few times because he, lost his page 1 as we moved that one to a full graphic. It was
that pesky actual front page thing.
Yeah, exactly. So. We wanted to make it. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's so boring." So we went to doing full graphics, and okay, peer pressure, man.
But going back to it, whatever success I have had, and some people like to think I've had a lot, a little, whatever it might be. I've certainly, my business is larger than most mobile DJ companies, and I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm giving credit to Mobile Beat, DJ Times, Disc Jockey News, going all the way back to think tanks and so many things, because, if you're not growing, you're dying. And if you're not even attempting to grow, I mean, and again, this isn't a pitch for my show. I look at, even when you have somebody like the Engage Summits, and the events are being produced and people are paying $3,000, there is clearly an audience that wants to pay it. And again, I'm not saying anything good, bad, or indifferent, but I think Bill Herman's entertainment experience is like $2,500. I know that they just had the lighting and audio symposium up in Minnesota, and they had, 40, 50 people, and that's more of an intimate, very specific thing. Mark Farrell seems lately to be, his seminars seem to be quite popular. Vicky Musney is going to be giving a bonus seminar at Midwest DJs Live. And again, people are filling up the seats. At Marquee, we only have 12 spots available for Randy Bartlett's microphone technique workshop, and 8 of the 12 are taken already. And we're posting his little teaser video on Monday. And I'm confident that by the end of next week, all of his spots are going to be taken. All 12 of them will be taken. So, and as you may know, if you've attended his course before, you're allowed to watch it.
Sure.
I forgot what it's called in college when you sit in a class.
Yes.
But you're not allowed to perform in it. You're not allowed to get involved, but you're allowed to observe and kind of go from that point of view.
So Casey, I have a question for you. So where do you think now, with all these webinars that people are producing, some of these rock star speakers are actually doing a lot of webinars? Do you think that's why people are not going to shows anymore, because they feel that they can catch it on a webinar?
I think that education's really easy. I mean, an example is today, digital DJ tips. I mean, perfect example. I follow them on Facebook. They've got like, we figured it out, John, like 200,000 DJs, mostly from Europe, following them.
Yeah.
And again, I give these guys a lot of credit from a social media point of view. I got a message from them in my Facebook Instant Messenger with them asking me, hey, do you want to see the latest blah, blah, blah tricks? So what did I do? I immediately jumped on Google and said, how do I place my advertising in Facebook Messenger? And sure enough, there was a tutorial from Facebook about it. And so be prepared to get some stuff from Marquee in your Facebook Instant Messenger, because again, it seems like a very untapped market. And so, my goal as a show promoter is to be everywhere a DJ or a photo booth company owner might be.
Right.
And so I'm trying to crush it on social media. I'm trying to crush it with email campaigns. I've done a good job of partnering up with people that can help get the name out and get the word out and kind of go from there. Because again, if my show is successful, it's just going to grow. And next year I'll be able to have even better speakers and go to an even higher level, or have even better content and a better show. And that's really what it's all about.
So Casey, have you ever thought to again, this goes back to the show. Have you ever thought about actually streaming someone's seminar live, like as a teaser, just one person, so that next year more people will go?
No, because personally, what I'd rather do, and I think really what it comes down to is, why does everybody go to John Doe's show, Jane Doe's show?
To network.
Acme Widget DJ show. Well, no, because a friend of theirs said, "Oh my God, the show is unbelievable, and you have to be there, you have to be on it, you have to go to it." And so what ends up happening is the following year, Acme Widget show got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's become almost a regular, somewhat institution now for some things. And I'm not going to say anything good or bad about any show, because that's not really the goal.
No.
From where I'm sitting, I think that it becomes a word of mouth thing. So what my intention is to get as many testimonials from people as possible at my show to create that teaser, so that it's not just a very cool, hyped up recap video, but it's going to say, for example, Jody, if you make it, tell me what you loved about the show. Give me an idea that you would be willing to share with people about what did you learn, because you and I have been to different conferences and think tanks where we literally are at that point where our head hurts, and it's like we have 4 pages of notes, and now on the plane ride home, we're going through our notes going, okay, it's time to prioritize. What is my priority?
Right.
And we know our friend Andy Ebon gets very frustrated because someone will be finally implementing what his seminar was 3 years later, myself included. And it comes down to life gets in the way. John's got 700 children up in Minnesota because the winters are very cold.
Very cold, and my wife is very warm.
Yes. And so, and I get it, but there's only so much time in a day, and I totally 100% get it. The thing that I find disappointing when I read on the boards is this: when people use the excuse that they can't, their full-time job, they're a part-time DJ. Now, you and I both know, okay, if it's something you really want to do, you will make the time for it. And if it isn't, you'll find an excuse.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I don't know who taught me this, but somebody said, "Well, I'm going to try to blah, blah, blah." And I said, "So you're not doing it?" And they go, "What do you mean?" And he turned to me and he said, "Trying is failing with honor." And I thought that's totally true, because you never committed to a yes. So they can't get mad at me when you don't do what you said you would try to do, because you never really committed to it. And my whole thing is this: whether it's my show, whether it's Midwest DJs Live, whether it's ARM DJs, DJ Expo, if you say that you're in this business, you know what? Commit to it. So,
absolutely.
And that's it. So,
it's so funny because I'll run into DJs that don't go to shows, and they're like, how do you know all this stuff? And I'm like, shame on you. I mean, look, I'm in Vegas. You know that Mobile Beat is in Vegas.
Right.
All 3 of you guys, how many Vegas DJs have you ever run across at a Mobile Beat?
Oh, listen, there's a part of me that's scared. How many DJs do you know from Chicago? Okay, both of you. You've been going to shows forever.
Oh, yeah.
John's about as networked as you can be. There's never more than 20 DJs from Chicago, and I'm hosting a show in Chicago, and I've been personally emailing every single DJ I know to personally invite them to the show.
Yeah.
Now, Reggie shot us a note saying that he's got a different perspective on DJing, and I've been talking away, so we don't even know if Reggie's mic's on or if he's there.
Yeah, it's on.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Reggie, give us your perspective.
Well, I've been going at it since 1979. I started out 14 years old with my mom and dad's home stereo, which I ended up blowing up.
All right.
I use DJing as a form of relaxation because I'm a very big music fan.
Okay.
And I like the idea of having the extra money coming in, but I also like the idea of having a full-time job as well.
Okay.
So there's times when I've done Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and still work my full-time job.
What do you
Okay.
do? What do you do full time?
I'm a custodian.
Okay. Got it.
I look at it as a form of relaxation because I know not a lot of people, or you guys would do it, but I play a lot of nursing homes and for older people.
Okay.
All right.
Music has a way of doing things that medication can't.
All right.
Correct.
And it gives me, when I see somebody that has Alzheimer's and suddenly you play like Patsy Cline, crazy, and she just starts up out of her chair and starts singing it word for word, or a
awesome.
German polka. It's amazing.
Okay,
and
but
that's where
let me
I
ask
get
you.
my feet from.
Let me ask you the question that needs to be asked then. Why don't you attend a DJ show?
I am this weekend.
Oh,
He's
you're
going
going to
to
be at
He's going
Midwest.
to his
Yep.
first one.
All right. Very
Yeah.
good. I look forward
My
to seeing
first
you.
one. They better bring it because I've learned a lot from DJ News.
Okay. Well, and look at the amount of people that are writers for Disc Jockey News that are going to be there, or contributors on the shows. So, and do you live in Wisconsin?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you're driving, obviously not
Yep,
flying.
driving back and forth.
Oh, so you're not even staying at the hotel?
Oh no.
You cheap bastard. No, I'm just-
I did actually, believe it or not, the prices in Milwaukee are actually higher than the prices that I paid for when I went out to see my son in Denver, Colorado.
okay.
I could believe that
Wait,
because sometimes the
but The
smaller.
prices of Potawatomi or the prices of hotels?
Prices in general.
Okay.
I think I paid $49 a night in Denver. And
Okay.
that was at a
And so did you just step around the police barricade and the body line outline?
no,
Did
it was
you
actually
get that?
a really decent hotel.
Okay. Now, how far do you live?
I'm about an hour and a half away.
Okay. So it's about a quarter tank of gas. So it's not, yeah, you're splitting hairs.
It's gonna cost me maybe $20 in gas both days I go.
But you know what?
Monday.
But you know what? He's going. He's
Mhm.
going.
I'm not disagreeing. No
And he's
argument
going to
there.
learn from some amazing people. And even Brian B's going to be there giving a seminar.
Brian's coming directly from Europe to Milwaukee. Nothing
I'll
says
guarantee you I'll be
welcome
there.
home to the U.S. like coming into Milwaukee.
Yep. Yeah. So that's great. That's great. And you know what? You're going to get the fever, Reggie. You're going to get the fever, and you're going to want to go to other DJ shows too. You're going to want to go to Marquee. Maybe if you can't make it in July, you'll go next year.
And I'm warning you, the rooms are what?
Vegas.
Vegas.
Now you jumped on Vegas real quick. I'm just curious, as a show producer, why? Is it the city or is it the conference?
Because I can keep the head girlfriend happy, let her go gambling, and I can go to the DJ show.
Okay,
That's
so it's
the
the city.
city. Yep.
It's pretty much the city.
Thank you.
No, listen, I get it. I totally 100% get it. I mean, I'm not, me personally, I'm totally burnt out on Vegas.
Yeah, we've been there, done that.
And me
And we
too.
were there
I
like
live
4 or
here,
5
and
times
it's
a year now.
yeah, and it
I
sucks
mean-
for me because I have to still operate my business while you guys are all having fun.
No, you have no pity party from me. So does John, and John doesn't have the luxury of having his full office 15 minutes away from the casino like you do. So do I, so you're not sorry.
Yeah,
I missed you guys at that dinner because I had a DJ at Chateau.
You had to, so you have nobody else in your company that could have.
Why would I want to send somebody else?
Okay, you're as cheap as Reggie now. You and him can share a $49 hotel room.
So
And a $2 steak.
Reggie,
There you go.
I want to jump back to a question here, Reggie. Before this year's show, now, was it something that you weren't aware of the DJ shows out there, or was it one of those things that you were just, the financial commitment just wasn't something you thought was worth it at that time, or what? Why was this the first show?
You've been doing it since 1972 or whatever it was.
79, yeah.
Whatever. The bottom line is you had to have heard about the shows.
Of course.
Okay, well, I don't want to blow John's ego up any, but
Okay.
well, since I started watching, getting involved in DJ News and watching the videos, and thank you again for letting me win that nice lighting system. It's really made me step up my game. You're talking to somebody that used to use Winamp as a media player, and now I'm using Virtual DJ. I'm also using Karma Karaoke for karaoke.
Nice.
It's made me step up my A game to make myself a better DJ in my area. And now, since I've got involved with DJ News, I'm actually feeding 2 other people my extra business.
Okay. Now just think, you could raise your rates
or
streamline your systems or what have you after a couple of DJ shows. So
that's afraid what the girlfriend's afraid of. What are you going to want to come home with?
I'm just talking about streamlining the way you do things, making it faster, more efficient, just like going from Winamp to virtual DJ. I mean, it had to have made your life a lot easier. So
yeah, there's certain ways you can search things for on Winamp that you can't do on virtual DJ.
Right, but I think that's just like anything.
Yeah.
When you buy a new car, you knew where your turn signal was on your old car, and there was a certain sense of comfort. It doesn't mean that your new car is not better and more fuel efficient and has seat warmers that go all the way up your back, not just on your tush and whatever else. I mean, that's just part of evolution. So
I have a question for Reggie. So what do you hope to get out of your first DJ show?
you said they better bring it. What are you looking for them to bring?
That's a good question.
I've learned like so much from MJ and John and
if that's all, you're really going to learn a lot. If it's those 2 are your mentors. I mean, my God. Going from summer school to the university.
They made me want to be better.
Good. That's a great
the
great
way
statement.
I'm looking at this is finding more tools. There's a thing called finding the tools of success.
Okay.
Either I'm going to get some more tools to be successful, which I know I will.
Right.
And find some good nuggets.
Okay.
And hopefully bring them up here and pass them on to the 2 people that I'm helping out.
Why aren't you bringing your 2 people you're helping out with you?
Because one, the guy has a full-time job, and
so do you.
Is disabled.
And he's what?
The lady is disabled.
And so she doesn't leave her. How can she DJ if she's disabled?
She's got kids, I guess.
You don't know if she's got kids?
I get she has kids.
Okay. They must help her.
But she's able to make her.
This is something I've only decided to go to this one like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And actually,
Gotcha.
the guy you were supposed to have a show with tonight, and
Brian.
a couple of guys from Canada coerced me into going.
Oh, good.
Gotcha. So now we got to work on getting you to Chicago. There's a casino literally right down the street from the hotel.
There's one thing you need to say to me. That's Portillo's.
Well, there you go. But you guys have those in Wisconsin now, so you're kind of cheating.
Madison.
Okay, that's not part of Wisconsin?
Well, it's a ways away.
I think you need to go back to geography class.
It's ways away.
That's close enough to Illinois.
Yeah. We have a much better baseball team, although this year it could go either way. This year, the Central League and the National League, or the Central Division, it's going to be crazy. Watching that league is going to be watching like the World Series. So, no question.
I know there's only one lady in the group, but not to talk football, but Chicago Bears picked an outside linebacker.
Okay.
I from Georgia State, I think.
Right.
I didn't catch who it was.
Well, she probably knows more about football than I do.
Yeah, probably both of us, right?
I'm more a wrestling person.
Yeah.
And we can talk that too, but not right now.
Yeah.
All right.
You need to come up to Milwaukee. Me and you can sit and talk.
So do we have anybody on YouTube? Because I don't have that open.
Yeah, we've got a few folks, and they're talking about hotel and Atlantic City that they can, and, some can't go, and they're thinking that Brian B. It's 3 a.m. in Italy. They're thinking Brian B. is probably out for the night.
Oh no, he's out for the night, all right. Partying with all those wedding planners.
Because if you know Brian's wild.
We'll go on his Instagram stories and find out right now. That's what sucks. That's what sucks about social media, because you can't lie anymore. You got to be so careful. Like, don't post me. I told them whatever. Like, you can't lie anymore. You just have to be.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously? I so want to call people out, but no. And I know you don't lie. Like, I believe when you're in the bathroom taking a selfie, you're actually there.
Yeah, really in a bathroom, yes.
Yes. If you're at Wynn, I can see Steve Wynn coming out of the stall behind you.
Yes.
So, he probably doesn't now that he's not
that's where he's living now.
Now that he's off the board. So, and on that subject, like, what's worse? Like, I guess Vegas hookers or going to jail for drugging people. I mean,
know.
my God,
Yeah.
his pudding pop's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, you're not gonna be.
Yellow pudding pop.
Yeah, I won't be able to do that.
Wow.
It's craziness. But anyhow, going back to even what Mike Fernino said, it is sad, and I think this goes back to what Randy Bartlett said years and years and years ago, which was that DJs all thought that they're great because everybody tells them they are.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no Siskel and Ebert, tragically both dead, but there is no Simon Cowell that says, Jody, I watched your performance and you think you're a 10, but you're really a 6, and here's why. Okay? And, I wish we had more people like that in the business that didn't belittle you, didn't tell you you're not as great to belittle you, but to build you up instead. And that's where, if you've taken Randy Bartlett's workshop, he is very good at critiquing you to show you what you've done wrong without you ever feeling like you've been belittled or what have you.
Sure.
So why don't we go back? Why don't we do that? Why can't there be you as a show producer? Why, as opposed to doing that DJ of the year competition, why can't there be some kind of seminar at night where people sign up and they do get critiqued? Why not create quote an American Idol kind of
because the reality is that I think, let's say an established show like DJ Times or Mobile Beat, both in casino towns, people want to go out and party. Yeah. They want to eat and drink with their friends. They want to gamble. They want to pick up hookers. And I'm listen, I'm not passing judgment, but when you live in a city that says what happens here stays here, unless you get the clap. But that's the way.
But that's not everybody. I have to disagree. I think that if you, as a show producer, offered something like that, like back in the day when Mobile Beat used to have us do our little routines.
And they still do. Okay, they still do. They offer the PV, what was it called? The PV
DJ Takeover.
Right. Did you go to the PV Takeover?
No.
Okay. And you saw her just do the scowl. Nah.
No.
And then
but here's why. But Casey, here's why. There's no judges. There's nobody.
It doesn't matter.
Let's get Randy Bartlett. Let's get you. Let's get Randy Bartlett.
You don't want me.
Let's get somebody out there.
There'll be no winner then. I'll have 6 people in the corner sucking on their thumbs crying.
And let's knock out our best grand entrance, our best cake cutting, our best whatever, and try to impress the judge.
It's going to be boring. That's the problem. I get it.
There's got to be a way to make it non-boring.
Really? So
as a producer? Yeah.
When Jane Doe goes in and totally tanks, okay, like totally 100% tanks in front of all of her peer group, and then like people are gonna, and you see 4 people in a row that just tank.
Mm-hmm.
You tell them they tanked. That's you signed it.
John, do you remember years and years ago when Scotty O'Brien? This goes back to like the late 90s. Scotty O'Brien's a really nice guy. He's a DJ from St. Louis. Has a successful company. I think it's called like Sunshine Entertainment. He got up as the industry expert at DJ Times on a wedding seminar. And this was back in the day of panels. And he said, one of the biggest mistakes that I see DJs make is they put music underneath their introductions. And it completely takes away from the people's names. And he goes, and let me demonstrate. And he had set up some different people to act as bridesmaids and grooms, and they walked down the middle of the room, and we were like this. It's like we were seriously waiting for like Ashton Kutcher, who was probably like 4 years old at the time, to jump out and scream that we were punked. Or at that time, I guess it would have been Ed McMahon and
Candid Camera.
Yeah, or that. Well, past that, but I mean, it was seriously like, are you kidding?
Mm.
But again, I mean, he lost all credibility. And here's the thing. We don't have a Michael Jordan in this business. There isn't. Okay? There is not a Michael Jordan. There is nobody.
Mike Walter.
And you know what? But Mike Walter's business model is such that I believe that you could put it anywhere in the country. Okay? However, no one has ever said to me, you know who's a great entertainer? Mike Walter. They've said he's a great speaker, okay, but you don't. When people talk about like mixing DJs, They don't talk about Mike Walter. They
And-
talk about Jason Jani.
Yeah, even
When they
Mike.
talk about powerful MCs that can lead a crowd and dance, they'll talk about Johnny Kelly. They'll talk about Adam White's. They'll talk about
Jasmine.
Jasmine.
Mhm.
They'll talk about others, but his name won't come up. And that's the whole thing. Like, let's be honest. If you had a body like Marcello, you were good looking like Anthony Vanera, you could dance like Mars, you could mix like Jason Jani, you had Peter Mary's voice, you had Randy Bartlett's sense of humor. I mean, it's like weird science. We could call it Weird DJ and then put it all together and put a bra on our head and we'd build the perfect DJ. Okay. But that doesn't happen. And so I think what happens is everybody plays to their strengths as to where they are. Okay. And I mean, and I don't see anything wrong with it. It's just, if you're not a great MC and you don't have a passion for it, you're going to play to something that you are better at, that you know better, that you do better. And I think that's human nature in general, you know? So, you know, that's all. And then again, you're talking about, here's the crazy part about our business. The reality is, in our 20s, when we're filled with piss and vinegar and we get all excited and we jump into this crazy business, it's fun and we're learning and we're learning. And then in our 30s, we're starting to get really good. Like we're past the novice stage. We're definitely in the very good stage. And then in our 40s, when we're past all of that, we're going, God damn, this equipment's heavy. And man, I have missed 17 Saturdays in a row now where my neighbors are grilling, the pool. You know what? You can shake your head all you want to. I get it. But
This is your career. You decided to do
yeah,
it.
except
If you
for
want
one
to go
thing.
grilling with your friends and your neighbors, then stop DJing on Saturdays and go grilling.
And that's what happens. Let's take a look at the average disappearance rate. When you hit your 40s, and especially when you've got kids that are a certain age, all of a sudden it's bye, bye, bye. And then when you hit your late 40s and you're 20 years older, or back in the day, 25 years older than your brides, you're not nearly as attractive to them as you once were. And that's the price of tea in China. Okay. So again, if I was an up and coming DJ in my 20s now, knowing then what I know now, I would sure as hell be going to DJ shows. I sure as hell would be reading. But I think the problem is we have, and now we're going to talk about society, but I think now we have an entitled group of individuals in their 20s that everything is given to them and everything is so immediate. And here's the other thing. We have a weird work culture today. Yesterday, we got a delivery at the office. Dina, I don't think, has stepped foot in a retail store unless it's under duress in I don't know how long. We have Amazon Prime show up in our office every single solitary day. Okay.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who came in, t-shirt, shorts, totally chill. And he said, can you, are you Dina? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. He scans his package with his phone or whatever, and poof, he's out the door. And I said to him before he left, I said, can I ask you a question? He goes, sure. I go, I'm assuming you're using your own car. He goes, yeah. So it's very similar to Uber. What happens is he's a registered Amazon driver or delivery guy. Okay. And what ends up happening is he's now in their system, and around the hubs where Amazon is, they put out to their drivers, which he's one of, similar to like how you can turn on and turn off Uber, that they have 3 hours worth of work delivering within these zip codes, and it's X amount of packages, and it's going to pay $40. Okay. And then when he gets closer, they need those packages out. They might be willing to pay $50. And if they literally need them out like 15 minutes before, they may pay $60. And he was telling me that he happens to live right near the distribution center. So for him, it's really easy. He'll wait until like 15 minutes before. He'll take the job at the premium. And he said he can get it done in like an hour and a half because he's really efficient. He doesn't screw around. He doesn't stop. So he makes $60 in like an hour and a half. Now, he'll do 2 of those a day. Okay. And so he's worked 3 hours. He's paid $120. Like, and again, he turns it on when he wants to. He turns it off when he wants to.
That's interesting.
Uber, Lyft, everything. Same thing with, okay, you have your house. Okay, well, I'm going to go out of town this weekend, so I'll put it on Airbnb. I had a girl who worked for me that would literally go hang out would stay at a girlfriend's house on the weekends so that she could get the revenue to help pay her rent because she lived in the city in a nice neighborhood, and she purposely decorated it very sparingly without a lot of personal things in there. And she would Airbnb her house out twice a month to help pay the rent, or her apartment. So she was like Airbnb her apartment to help pay the rent. I thought it was the weirdest thing in the world, but to a 20-something millennial, that's just the life. And that's it. And I don't know where DJ fits, but I know this much. Even my nephew, like, looks at the amount of money he'll be making doing little junior high parties compared to what he makes working at the movie theater. And he goes, I'm DJing all day long, like all day long. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it because there's just more money. But the question being is how good are you? You know, I mean, and where are you going to get the education? So, I mean, Reggie, I think it's great that you're going finally. I wish you would have gone 20 years ago. And honestly, my gut tells me that after you've experienced it, I think it's going to go one of two ways. Either you'll be totally drinking the Kool-Aid and you'll be like, God, I wish I would have done this 20 years ago. Or it's just not going to be your thing. And you're going to go, this was a waste of time. And I think that that's where it falls into, because it's so funny. The thing that I find the funniest are the people on the DJ chat boards or group pages or whatever that are adamantly against it. I would never, ever spend my money. I'm just as good as John is, and he's been going for 30 years. Like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, nobody said you weren't as good. You're just trained differently. And I don't think it's about whether you're better or worse than John or Jody or Reggie. It's just your own personal enrichment, you know? I mean, Jody knows, like, I'm an education junkie. Like, I go to Social Media Examiner and I've done personal development stuff and Anthony Robbins things. And you know, I love watching Gary Vaynerchuk and I don't drink his Kool-Aid. I mean, Jody and I have had numerous conversations, as have John and I, about I don't agree with a lot of it, and I even mentioned him in my article this month. And so, you know, I look at conferences and seminars as a buffet. As long as there's a lot of stuff there that I like, that's great, and it's okay that there's stuff on there that I don't like. Like, I see no need for tofu except to maybe fill flat tires. But again, it's on there, and that's it. So that's all. But I'm still a fan, whether you're going to Atlantic City, and I'll say this, I give them credit, nicer hotel. Just see, John, email, if you got your email this week or saw their Facebook, they're announcing speakers earlier and seminars.
I did not.
When is Atlantic City?
Middle of August.
Yeah, it's about the same date configuration.
Yeah, I know it's at Harrah's, and it's an awesome hotel.
One of Jason Janai's guys, Nick, is going to be speaking for the very first time.
Oh.
Nick, I want to say it's Spillinelli's.
Oh, yeah.
Spaghetti something.
How do you find that show online? I don't get a lot of.
I think the website's thedjexpo.com or djexpo.com.
They're affiliated with another magazine,
correct?
They're affiliated with DJ
Times.
Time. Yeah, and I'm on their email list, so I get their emails and such. And he's speaking. Jerry Bazzata speaking again. Who else did I see on there? But I give them credit because it's literally like 2 weeks before they announce who they're having. So the fact that they're 3 months in advance, you know, was that May, June, July, 4 months in advance almost. 3.5 for them. That's crazy.
Wow, that's good. So,
and I know that Jake's already pushing for his DJ Entertainer of the Year.
Yep, I saw that.
And I guess it's going to be held at Golden Nugget. Because they don't have the right kind of space at Harris in Atlantic City to host that kind of a thing. So it's going to be in one of the clubs at that. And I think Jake's done a nice job of pushing the envelope and trying to revitalize it. I think the time has passed for that, but I give him a ton of credit, and I wish him nothing but the best, as well as all the contestants as well. So that's that. But there's tons of great education coming up in the next 4 months. I mean, again, you've got Midwest DJs Live, then you've got ARM DJs, then you've got me, and then you've got DJ Time. So 4 shows in 4 months is a lot. And then we get a little bit of a break, and then we've got Wedding NBA at the first week of November.
Yeah.
Which I'm very pleased to be speaking at again this year on the bigger stage.
Ooh,
which is
nice.
Yeah.
So are you going to wear the...
What are you speaking on?
I am doing an Ask the Experts panel.
Oh, nice.
Which is kind of interesting. It's an experimental seminar that Shannon is trusting me with.
Oh, good.
And so I don't know if they're going to be emailing in things ahead of time to me so that I can prepare, or if I'm literally doing it on the fly. I did a smaller version of this on the one Monday 2 years ago, and it was interesting. It was Andy Ebon first, then I followed, and then it was Alan Berg. And it was very interesting to talk to Shannon about how some of the people that stayed for all 3 had discussed how different our personalities were and how we seem to address the industry and challenges within the industry differently.
Sure.
So that was that. Andy was very contractual, by the book. This is what I signed up for. I'm more, let's get it done, and that's that. So that's where we're at. So again, I apologize. I'm all about education. I thought we could dig in deeper, and that's my mistake. I own it. I apologize. I will go to the chalkboard now and write, I will not be late to my show 100 times, and kind of go from there.
You're making money, Casey. You're making that money.
Well, I'm trying to. I'm
got money moves. I got money moves.
What did you do with the money? The money that Pat gave you for dance lessons.
Ooh, that's right.
Here's a real question, because we know Reggie's on the fence. He's probably not going to come to Marquee, but he's making his baby step.
Yep. So it's all about.
And we know John's going to be at Marquee. The question is, will Jody? Inquiring minds want to know.
That is the cliffhanger, ladies and gentlemen.
Dun, dun, dun.
Same bat time. Same bat chat.
Which, folks, my last plug of the day, or my last closing, is Jody was kind enough to ship me back my suitcase filled with extra t-shirts, which came last week, and my trade show booth, and I will be set up at Midwest DJs Live, passing out copies of the May Disc Jockey News newspaper in my booth, as well as passing out DJ. I almost said DJ Entertainer. There's a brand from the past. Passing out Marquee Show T-shirts. So coming up, say hello. We've got a whole suitcase of them, and we're going to have a show special for those of you at Marquee, so you can save a little bit of money for your continued education. So there's that, and then of course, if you haven't followed us on Facebook and everywhere else, and if I'm not stalking you, follow me on Facebook at Marquee Show, facebook.com/Marquee Show, MARQUEE Show. And we've got our day 1, day 2 up. We've got all kinds of good stuff up. Scott Carroll's getting on, so it's time for us to leave. So it is time. Oh, my God, look at it. Scott. Say goodnight, John boy.
All right. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. We will be back next week with our shows. Make sure you check out Monday night next week. We're going to be talking social media with our Convention Series show. Thanks for being with us. Good night.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insiders.